Lloyd. Lloyd, Roido, is a Quincy and a member of the Wandenreika's Sternritter with the designation, Y, the yourself. He is the younger identical twin brother of Lloyd. From birth, Lloyd and his older brother, Lloyd, were indistinguishable from one another, even to the medical staff who delivered them and their own parents. By the age of 5, the brothers realized they were perfectly identical because they had both unconsciously begun to imitate each other before they were even born. When they were 12 years old, they discovered they could not only imitate one another, but other people as well. While they could both copy appearances, only Lloyd could replicate people's memories and personality, whereas Lloyd could instead copy their powers and techniques. Appearance. Lloyd is a tall and rather slender individual, whose head is completely bald and features a third eye seemingly tattooed at the center of his forehead. Each of his ears is encased by a circular, headphone-like covering further surrounded by a dark-colored trim. His attire is a variation of the Sternritter's typical white uniform, including the Order's signature hooded cloak. During childhood, Lloyd had short, light-colored hair with centrally parted bangs. Sometime after the age of 12, both brothers gained a small scar on their forehead, exactly where their third eye would later be placed. Personality. Lloyd is a devoted and loyal individual, holding off Yamamoto despite the grave risk it posed doing so. He also had great pride in being praised by Yawatch for fighting such an opponent. The Thousand-Year Blood War. After 11th Division Captain Kenpachi Zaraki defeats 3 of the Sternritter, Lloyd, disguised as Yawatch, takes him on in battle. Soon after, Kenpachi is easily defeated by Lloyd, who holds the bloodied man aloft by his throat. Stating he had considered the captain first among the special war powers, Lloyd concludes he must have overestimated him, given Kenpachi's current pathetic state. Declaring Seoul society is on the brink of collapse, Lloyd is interrupted by the arrival of Captain Commander Genryosei Shigekuni Yamamoto, who announces he has come to annihilate him. Immediately ambushed from above by 3 Sternritter, Yamamoto effortlessly incinerates them all with Ryujin Jaka. Unfazed by his comrades' misfortune, Lloyd says they are pitiful fools who should have known to not intrude on his battle. Noting Yamamoto's disappointed gaze, Lloyd is unsurprised when Yamamoto attacks, injuring Lloyd's forearm, and states he never valued his own subordinates' lives, though his cruelty would end today, prompting Lloyd to state Yamamoto still allows himself to be consumed by anger, much like in the past, despite growing old. Denying this, Yamamoto attacks him again. Barely able to avoid Yamamoto's next attack, Lloyd manifests his spirit weapon. When Yamamoto acknowledges this action, Lloyd notes Yamamoto appeared to be waiting for him to draw his blade. Confirming this, Yamamoto says he did so in order to ensure he would destroy Lloyd entirely and activates his Bankai, Zenka no Tachi. When Jugram Hashwalth questions if the scorched blade Yamamoto wields is really a Bankai, Lloyd cautions him to not underestimate it before detailing its ability to incinerate anything it cuts in an explosion of flame. Noting Lloyd must have seen this Bankai 1,000 years ago, Yamamoto asks him if he truly believes it will be the same as back then before stating Lloyd can take the next blow from Zenka no Tachi and find out if he really wants to discover if his Bankai is the same as it was 1,000 years ago. Evading Yamamoto's attacks, Lloyd wonders why no flames came forth from the blade when his cloak was cut and if the Bankai could really have changed in the past 1,000 years. Reaffirming there is no Zanpakuto with a Shirkai and Bankai which are unrelated, Lloyd discerns the true danger lies in the point of the sword after seeing the rubble it touched was instantly obliterated. Confirming Lloyd's suspicions to be true, Yamamoto explains the ability of Zenka no Tachi, Higashi, and says not even Blood Vene can defend against it. Underwhelmed, Lloyd states he simply has to cut him without touching the sword and attacks Yamamoto, only to express shock upon seeing his attack did nothing, finding the top half of his own sword had been incinerated. Telling Lloyd he is too naive and should listen when others talk, Yamamoto says there must be a west if there is an east before making Zenka no Tachi, Nishi visible. As Lloyd realizes only Blood Vene has prevented him from being incinerated even at a distance, Yamamoto asks why he is just staring and states Lloyd would be killed even if he ran. Firing a Heilig File, which is easily repelled, and with his sword broken, Lloyd declares there is more to a Quincy's tactics than their cross and arrows. Activating Kirchenlied, Sankt Zwinger, Lloyd states it to be the Quincy's ultimate spell of protection and warns Yamamoto anyone who steps into its radius will be torn apart by the Light of God. Unfazed, Yamamoto negates Lloyd's spell by activating Zenka no Tachi, Minami. Alarmed by the resulting horde of skeletal corpses, which are populated by the Quincy whom Yamamoto has previously slain, Lloyd denotes the irony of a Shinigami who can raise the dead and calls Yamamoto a disgrace to his kind before leaping over the skeletons to attack Yamamoto directly. Impeded by a towering pile of corpses, Lloyd is talked into taking a closer inspection of them at Yamamoto's behest. Horrified, Lloyd recognizes the burnt skulls of his deceased subordinates among those already in the heap. As Lloyd's hesitation allows the horde to engulf him, Yamamoto backs away and taunts him for failing to steal his Bankai before explaining why Lloyd could not do so. When Lloyd cries out at this provocation, Yamamoto says Lloyd must still have a human heart. Asserting the skeletons are not sufficient to stop him, Lloyd begins to strike down his former allies. Claiming he can see Lloyd's tears, Yamamoto states the bitterness he experiences now is incomparable to the hatred the fallen Shinigami had for him before unleashing Zenka no Tachi, Kita, Tenchi Kaijin. With much of his torso and left arm eradicated, Lloyd apologizes to Yawatch for not being strong enough. Soon after this, the real Yawatch arrives and praises Lloyd for having fought well. Brought to tears, Lloyd says it is an honor to have this praise as Yawatch kills his subordinate, having served his purpose. Powers and abilities. The Yourself, G.U. Sarufu, Japanese for yourself, like his brother, Lloyd can transform himself into the exact physical likeness of another person. In doing so, he can replicate the memories and personality of this individual, allowing him to flawlessly impersonate his target. While Lloyd and Lloyd could both copy appearances, only Lloyd could replicate people's memories and personality, whereas Lloyd could instead copy their powers and techniques. Racier manipulation. As a Quincy, he primarily absorbs Racier from the atmosphere and combines it with his own Ryuryoku to form weapons. He has an easier time collecting this energy in environments with higher concentrations of Racier such as in Soul Society or Hueco Mundo. Hirenkyaku expert. Lloyd is fast enough to dodge swings from Captain Commander Genryosai Shigekuni Yamamoto's Zenka no Tachi, but not fast enough as Yamamoto still managed to cut his cloak. Blut, Buruto, German for blood, Japanese for blood guys, an advanced Quincy technique which grants one inhuman defensive and offensive capabilities, caused by making Racier flow into the user's blood vessels. However, the independent forms for attack and defense cannot be employed simultaneously. Blut Vene, Buruto Vene, German for blood vein, Japanese for stilled blood guys, while Lloyd's defensive form of Blut is strong enough to negate attacks from Kenpachi's Zanpakuto, it is not absolute and can be torn using sufficient power, as evidenced when Captain Commander Genryosai Shigekuni Yamamoto's Ryujin Jaka managed to inflict a significant injury to his left forearm. Despite this, Lloyd's Blut Vene is strong enough to grant him resistance to the intense heat in the general vicinity of Yamamoto's Bankai, Zenka no Tachi, which would otherwise reduce a person to ash. Immense spiritual power. Lloyd's spiritual power is on a level comparable to or greater than that of a captain-level Shinigami, proven when he effortlessly achieved victory against 11th Division Captain Kenpachi Zaraki, who himself possesses an incredible amount of Ryuryoku, albeit the captain was still subconsciously suppressing the large bulk of his true power, and somewhat held his own against Yamamoto, with the latter firmly believing him to be the real Yawatch. Enhanced strength. Lloyd possesses a large amount of strength, effortlessly holding Kenpachi off the ground by the throat with only one hand. Enhanced endurance. Despite being slashed by Yamamoto's Zenka no Tachi, Kita, Tenchi Kaijin which incinerated a large portion of his torso and left fatally injured, Lloyd was still able to survive and remained conscious long enough for Yawatch to return. Quincy Spell Master. Due to his extensive knowledge of Quincy lore, Lloyd can expertly employ a number of certain Quincy techniques, referred to as spells, which result in similar effects to Kido. Lloyd can almost instantly invoke one which affords maximum protection using his own energy and without incantations. Spirit Weapon. Racier Sword. Using his Quincy Cross, Lloyd can concentrate both spirit energy and particles in order to transform them into weapons. Unlike the bows displayed by most other Quincy, his particular weapon manifests in the form of an ornate sword, reminiscent of a Dideo, with a relatively long handle and a crossguard shaped like a bird. Heilig File, Heirihi Puferu, German for Holy Arrow, Japanese for Sacred Destruction Arrows. By further collecting Racier, Lloyd can form the spiritual arrows which are typical of other Quincy bows. Even if his spirit weapon becomes broken, Lloyd still retains the ability to generate them from between the palms of both his hands instead. The arrows formed in this manner are several times larger than those of the average Quincy, though they can still be fired with considerable force, using just a simple gesture.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.